Hey guys! So, today we are going to talk about clean and nice, well-maintained code and why you may not realize this is more important than you think. So let's get into it. Now, obviously, any software developer worth their salt is going to tell you that nice, maintainable, clean, well-structured code is something to be sought after for varying amounts of reason. And there are literally thousands of articles, books, videos, resources, tech talks, you name it, on all the varying reasons why this is important. But I would like to add my 2 cents on the matter and give you something that a reason which you may not have heard about before, because I sure as hell haven't. So let's try it out. For it to make any type of sense to you, I'm going to give you some context. Just a little bit of context, okay? So today, my coworker was feeling fairly stressed because our product manager, in all her wisdom, had dumped a very critical story that needed to be shipped as soon as possible. Ideally, it should already be done. It was not groomed, it was not prepared, nothing. It kind of just came in. Not really standard practice, not really something that we developers like, but that's the situation. So my coworker gets working, right? And what's interesting is that he actually manages to sorta get everything together, and he just kind of throws some stuff together. And since he's a true-born professional, he still manages to keep the code fairly clean and nice. And finally, he sends in the code review. And he asked me, "Fredrik, could you take a look at this code?" And I say, "Yeah, sure. Don't worry about it. I'll have a look." And I look it over. And then I noticed something. I start reading through the code and everything looks fine, looks good, all things seems to be in order. And then there's a section of the code where I know that we have a very standard type of practice of working. At least I know, I've been informed from our CTO that this is the way that we favor doing things. And I see that, he's not doing that. He's doing some other thing I've seen some places, but let's ask him. That's what I'm thinking, right? So I ask my coworker, could you have a look at this? And he's super stressed, I can understand the stress of the situation. And he says, "Well, what is it? We need to get this stuff done." And I kind of just go, "Just slow down. All I want to know is, why are you doing this thing here when our practices is kind of to do things like that?" And then he goes, "Well, you're kind of right. I noticed this now. Basically, all I did was that I was using this other module over here that is basically, it's very similar to the way that this new thing that I'm building is going to work. And all I did was to kind of use the code there and almost copy-paste most of it and then retrofit it so it served my needs." And basically the structure, that's what I took. And I asked, "Okay, so what you're saying is that you use that other code as a template for the code that you're writing now?" "Yeah, pretty much." And that's why you need to write good software. So I told him, this is exactly what I mean when I say that it's very important that when you write software and we work as a team, that you have an understanding that the thing that you are doing right now, the software that you are writing right now, if you can't make the code nice, you have to either inform the team or have a dialogue or a code review. You have to share your reasons for making a certain decision. Because what people will do, and this is especially true for people who are new to the code base, every single programmer does this. When you are fresh in a project, or you're starting out and you're joining a company and you're starting to get your bearings and you're starting to add things to the code base, the first instinct you will have is to go to, whenever you're adding something, is to go and find something that is already there, that is very similar in structure or shape or whatever you want to call it, to the thing that you are going to make. So think about that. My coworker, he was just unlucky here. He just happened to go to a piece of software that was legacy code and use that as his template for writing his new module. So now this problem starts growing. Do you see the problem? If it was just a bad piece of luck, because if he had gone to a more modern practice piece of code, which was not legacy, and used that as his template for creating his new functionality, the problem would have stopped. And this is why legacy starts growing on you. Well, not only, but this is what I argue, one of the main reasons why software maintenance is such a critical thing. And it's something that you don't really understand until you really objectively look at the thing that you're doing. Which is, I mean, my coworker, he's a super professional senior software developer. He knows his stuff. But he was just a little bit unsure about how, because in his mind it was just about getting it done quickly. And that's okay, because it was, I mean, I could have done it. Anybody at that company could have made the same mistake. This is why I tell you guys, when you write software, you have to write it for more people than yourself. This is not me telling you that you need to put a bunch of comments or anything like that. What I'm saying is that the perspective you have to have is that you are not alone. The software that you write cannot only make sense to you. It has to make sense to more people than just yourself. And if you cannot achieve that through simple, elegant, good code, you have to try to achieve it through testing, through comments, through code reviews, through talking to your coworkers. Because as I said, the software that you write may have an impact on the future work to come. In this scenario, what happened was that somebody had written something in an old-fashioned style, and somebody used it as a reference for building their own thing. And now the problem grew. I hope this makes sense to you, because I talked to my coworker about this, and he completely agreed, and he said, all right, can we do this? You're absolutely right. Can I just release this right now so that we get it out, we get the feature out, and I will immediately after we release just fix this so that it's compliant with the way that we're supposed to do this sort of work in the future, so that nobody makes the mistake that I made today with my code. And I said, absolutely. That's a great compromise. You could even just put a little comment or something like that, whatever, just so that you know, so that somebody who is going to make the same mistake that you just made is aware of that this is not the way we want things to work anymore. No harm, no foul. No one's blaming anybody for this, because it could have happened to absolutely anybody. So I hope you take that with you next time you sit down at your terminal and you start, or editor or whatever you're using, and you start writing software. Remember that even if you don't think so, your code might actually be the next thing somebody else looks at in order to write their software. Have a great day.